What's up, guys? It's your boy GRC. I'm gonna go to the intro guy. I don't know what's playing. Like, why is it playing in the background? Is that on your end? Nope. It's on my end. I'm a fucking asshole. I don't know what's playing. Like, why is it playing in the background? Is that on your end? Nope.
You already know what time it is.
Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypt in the morning. Crypt in the morning. Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypt in the morning. Crypt in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.
D5 Pro.
Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypt in the morning. Crypt in the morning. Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Crypt in the morning.
Waiting on phone.
Crypt in the morning. Crypt in the morning.
Looks like we have a little intermission here. GRC is stepping off for a second to figure out shit, but hope everybody is doing well. We have a $600 million Solana hack that we're going to be talking about today. Very interesting. I'm actually looking into this right now on Twitter. There's a boatload of activity happening on Twitter around this because $600 million is interesting. That's a lot of.
I don't even know if it's about the money. I think that it's active users with small accounts. Like that's the craziest part. Like it's not.
But it's. I just read something, and remember, this is breaking news, so we don't know all the details right now. But I just read something on Twitter that said this is users who have accounts that are 6 months or older that inactivity. So
I wonder why. So what? Why could that? I don't understand.
Maybe that opens up
6 months ago is when this took place and they just waited?
No, it'd be like you put money into a staking pool, you put money somewhere, you have crypto in this thing, and you just leave it there for 6 months and you haven't touched it or anything like that. And that opens up the vulnerability.
Well, they said everyone with this a physical hard wallet, was unaffected. So basically there was an interaction where the keys were given up at some point. Like, so there was, and I'm going to get into the video right here. I had to turn my computer off. There was no other browser up, but it was making the double back. And I was like, I just had to shut my computer, I guess. Maybe because a lot of hackers are in my computer.
Ah, there you go.
Dude, are they gatekeeping hacks? No, I'm just kidding. What if that was the whole show? Like, I just like pretended to be like, Solana hack. Let's see if I can get back to this video with this wonderful young lady was talking about the Solana.
You pull that up. I'm gonna say hi to the chat real quick. We got Warden U. What's Gucci? Like the biceps, bro. Thank you. Hexagon Papa. Oh, an OG in the house. What's good? KS. How you doing today? Human Hex Trafficker. What's up?
There's been over 5 million.
New mind. It's halfway of the week, everybody. It is halfway. I like every day of the week, though. Good morning, Unimax. I actually have some stuff later on we might talk about for 7 minutes right at the end of the show related to sushi X swap and LP over there, but I don't have all the details. But let's jump into everybody else in the.
So let's just go through the general. This is a 2-minute video here, guys. She's going to explain the hack. This is within the last few hours, and then we're going to go to a different video with more nuanced detail. But this one will probably give you the overview and maybe clear up some stuff for us. And she's attractive, so it doesn't hurt.
$1 million worth of Solana stolen so far in a hack that is ongoing. A lot of people on crypto Twitter are trying to figure out what the heck is happening. It looks like the wallets being compromised are hot wallets like Phantom and Slope Wallet so far. There's been some rumblings about Trust Wallet and possibly Ethereum, but we're not sure those are entirely connected. They're also not sure how these wallets are exactly being compromised, how their seed phrases or their private keys are being compromised. A lot of this is trying to be found out. There's lots of hangouts happening on Twitter live, people coming together, those who are industry experts trying to figure out how this hack is happening, and the victims are coming together saying which browsers they're using, if they're using a cell phone or iPhone connected with these hot wallets, is that potentially a vulnerability? So another reason why I never use my phone to do anything with storing my cryptocurrencies. If you guys have Solana NFTs on Phantom or Slope, please move those over to a hardware wallet like Ledger. I know Ledger supports Solana. I'm not sure about Trezor at this time, but definitely Ledger. As a last ditch effort, if you don't have access to a hardware wallet, please, you can move your Solana to a centralized exchange until this kind of blows over. That's not a guarantee either, certainly, but maybe it's better than having your own hardware wallet or your own hot wallet, and you don't know how and if it will.
Hot wallet, for anybody who's not sure, is just a wallet is connected to the internet. So say for your phone, having MetaMask on there with cryptocurrency in there would be considered a hot wallet. If it came out that they're able to hack into and steal from Trezor or Ledger, wow, that could be what really sets the sell-off in crypto like back further.
Well, the repercussions on the price chart don't exist at this moment, and I believe
they looked it up,
and I believe they will, because I mean, come on, someone's just dumping fun. I'm not a rocket scientist here, guys, but $600 million hack, low liquidity asset in a bear market, dumpy poo poo. Solana goes down once a month. Solana is the absolute trash of this earth. You know how many paid groups and shit tell people that Solana, because the price action on Solana is extreme. But how can you tell people to put their money on something that goes down once a month? And it's just like classic news now. Like if Solana goes down, it's not even a biggie. It's no biggie because
it really goes down that often.
Yes, but I think at least 6 times since I've been like paying attention in the last 6 months or 10 months. Like I just see it everywhere.
Who's behind Solana?
Dude, I don't even go over there because I've always been hearing this stuff. Like, Richard says 100% uptime all the time. So I'm like, dude, this thing has like 0 uptime. Like, I'm just like, I don't know much about shit, but like, I like the 100% uptime thing better because the details, I'm just kind of joking around a little bit, but come on, guys, you know what I'm talking about here. Like, you don't want your crypto asset that you have control over and no one else to not be able to be moved. That is an issue. Solana's absolute trash. These expensive high-tier paid groups, everyone and lots of people have been pushing Solana hard for a long time. Hold on, I was just reading something. Solana didn't get hacked. It just mainly through ETH. It's just Solana came forth about it before ETH. I don't think that's true. Mm-hmm. I heard the whole news on ETH thing, and this we'll clear that up more with Mr. I got a video right here that we're going to pull up. This is like a Ethereum dev, so he's going to be a lot more detailed when he's talking about it.
Perfect.
If you know what I mean. So that was kind of just, I wanted to give you the general. And now let's see if we can, me and Sam will try to poke around at this a little bit, see if we can learn something here.
This is interesting. So I'm over on where you're pulling up the video.
And anything that you pull up, Sam, the article, anything I could read, like please feel free. After this one, we'll just, because this guy's just going to give us some clinical detail real quick.
I'm over on Twitter, and there is a plethora of issues here. There's a tweet here from Justin Bonds. I'm just going to read off some of these things here because I think this is interesting. Solana has far too many red flags. Blockchains should never have downtime. Yet Solana has gone down at least 7 times since I spoke out. A consequence.
Wow, this sounds just like what I just said. Literally, no, right? I was picking it out of my head too. I was like, I'm pretty sure Solana's been down like 6 or 7 times now.
A consequence of their own design decisions. There are There are many examples of lies, fraud, and bad design, exposing a pattern of bad behavior. Interesting. This is from Psychic PhD. I was able to prevent any Solana SOL loss from my Phantom wallet. How? I don't hold token of blockchain with so many red flags and not able to remain online.
I don't even think about it. I feel like I might be a genius, like, you know, but like I think I'm still just like a pleb because I'm like, I would never even just fathom putting my money over there. Well, I won't even look at it because I don't like downtime. I'll punch my computer straight through the freaking screen if I cannot sell my crypto at the time that I press it. I'll be pissed. It's never happened to me. Yeah, I got hacked once, and that's why I kind of want to talk more about that as we go forward. Yeah, that's. I think we're going to DAP University actually. So let's just listen to this guy for a minute. Let's. He is a professional, you know. So let's give him his. He's been doing this for a long time, and
we saw one of his videos the other day. He was pretty good, dude.
Yeah, he's pretty open minded, and him and Richard have had conversation online before. Very interesting. He's a funny, nice guy.
Basically, they're saying it looked like a supply chain attack on iOS-based wallets. Let's look at the details. So, again, you know, it's another hack or exploit, whatever you want to call it, in the ecosystem. We talked about one yesterday. Again, you know, we're seeing a lot. Some of these things.
This is live right now, by the way.
Really close to each other. We're talking about later in this video how you can
a live show.
Protect yourself from these type of attacks.
It's just like 5 minutes back.
Continue on here. So, a hack affecting the Solana ecosystem entered a second day on Wednesday, with no firm consensus on the source of the exploiter or how it might be stopped. So this is still kind of a question mark, but it's still happening. So basically, 7,767 wallets have been hit. An estimated more than $5 million in assets been taken so far. And it looks like we're not necessarily done with the total count on this just yet. So we're not 100% sure exactly what the source.
A couple times. And then I've also seen 5 million. I think the 5 million is old data. I think the 5 million was from.
Yeah. So remember, this was ongoing last night. So like, as people are waking up across the world, and like these numbers could be getting updated, and there's only echo when you talk while plays. Okay, my bad. I won't do that anymore. Yeah, I think this is ongoing because I was watching like the 10-minute news like right before this, and they were like, yep, there's still wallets. Yep. Like there was like, so it was ongoing. And that's really scary, guys. If there's anyone in this chat that needs help moving funds or would like suggestions, please ask for help. This is a decent time to ask for help because there's probably only one or two of you guys who are newer who have dealt in this. But yeah, we can help you get it on to centralized exchange, because if that's possible, you definitely want to do that. Even though centralized exchange is garbage, it's still tradable.
If you don't have a treasure, you need to get it out of that.
Out of there now. That's a compromised wallet. This is a good time to just, because I didn't think about what other people were thinking about. This is a compromised wallet. Your wallet is done. Period. You can never interact with that wallet again. You must get the funds off it as much as possible, and you will never use that wallet again unless you're claiming pre-airdrops that have come to that wallet. That is the only, so you must be done with that wallet. If you ever interact with that wallet in the future, it's 100% compromised. You need to get onto a centralized exchange. You can't order a fucking treasure in 40 seconds. So like, you need to send your money to a centralized exchange right now and see if you can have it there, because then you could trade it or move it.
Which is absolutely an insane statement to say.
Yeah, no, but it's the truth.
I agree. I'm not saying it's not
true. Do we like centralized or zero? Centralized.
I agree.
I know. But it's crazy coming out of our mouths. You're right, because it's so counterintuitive. And maybe there are some people that won't say that, even though it's out. Like, you know, maybe they'll just shut that up because they don't want to know the truth.
Interestingly, I'm on Solana's Twitter, and they're eerily silent. No tweeting from the Solana.
No customer support.
Twitter. 18 hours ago, early bird pricing on Solana, something daily NFT.
We got an early bird special coming in, guys. Maybe this was the early bird.
No talk about this. No, hey, protect yourselves, or hey, this is what's going on. This is where we're at. This is what we know. None of that is happening on Twitter right now, according to their official Solana page, But let's get back into this dude.
Yeah,
here.
that Hex Kebaba says they're busy shredding paperwork. Probably. So more like
call it friends of like the
putting acid on
DNC.
computers in their fucking anyway, guys, it's and this one, Solana has what percent uptime? Anyone, I'll give anyone 10,000 million hex if they can guess Solana's uptime to the exact percentage for 4 decimal points. I will send you all my life savings. You could literally learn how to do this exploit on YouTube, LOL. Literally, I'm sure you can. They say once the value proposition hits a certain point, you know, lazy company, right? It sounds lazy. It sounds like they're trying to just make it because their price pumps like fucking ridiculous, like nothing you'd ever seen with that coin. I swear to God. And that thing, Solana Summer, I remember everyone screaming Solana Summer, blah, 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 in all these paid groups. And now they're going to just say, well, we told you Solana wasn't great long-term. It's just only in the bull market. But they're like, but the paid group was only 2 weeks. But anyway, let's real quick, guys, if you don't mind, we'll go right back to the video. Let's get some people in here. Let's save some bodies if possible. Retweet this tweet out. Let everyone know we're in here. Smash the like, smash the sub button. I kind of want to like play this out. Oh, you know what we can do real quick? I want to remind everybody of something real quick.
Let's go.
I just wanted to pump everyone up real quick that was in here. I'm not going to talk any specifics about the fitness challenge, but just know Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we are going to recap Crypto Fitness Challenge. We're going to have special guests, special announcements. That's all I'm going to say about it, guys. But do you like being absolutely nuked, shredded, lit? Do you like feeling better in the day than you did when you weren't working out? Do you like spending less money and having better sex life, better gains in the gym? Join the Crypto Fitness Challenge when we start doing the next one, guys. I'm not going to give you any of the details. But if, you know, this was just the first round, it was free. I was very hands off, and it turned out to be great. And I was like, wow. And now it's inspired me in a way, if you know what I mean. People inspired me in the own group to inspire me again. So.
Yeah, so this has been awesome. So I found this over here. This is from anchain.ai. We are currently tracking this. So this is 13 hours old. So in crypto world, like this is old data, but it's only 13 hours old. We are currently tracking this SOL hacker wallets so far. So this is like they're stealing the money, and this is how it's being split up. 5 million between 2 wallets, over 4.2 million in SPL. What's up, guys? What is SPL? Let us know in the comments. The main wallet is funding 4 primary wallets. So I think all the funds are channeling into one wallet, and then whoever the hackers are splitting.
So dumb it down a little bit for me. So what do you see so far? Like we're coming at, because I can't really see that picture, to be honest, but I can actually, let me full screen.
Right, there we go. Is that
better? Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so we have that one wallet all the way to the left.
That's somebody that you can consider that your wallet.
Okay. That's what I was thinking. And then we have the hack in the middle, right?
Yep.
And then we have these 4 categories and these 4 categories. Now these might be different tokens. So that's Solana and that's Solana. And I don't know. It just seems like there's 2 separate exploits in particular. Is this kind of
well? So what they said in a tweet is that the account right there in the middle is stealing the funds, and then it is dispersing the funds between the 9 different wallets. So we've got these 4 wallets.
So there's actually, those are the wallets that are receiving the funds. Interesting.
Yeah, and it's going, and then I don't know if there's a hurricane or tornado type cash way of laundering money on Solana, but that
nobody knows who they are, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. It'll be this is ongoing. I wonder how much this gets up to and why.
Protect yourself, guys. Go to centralized exchange. I'm just kidding. I'm done with that little slogan. People are gonna clip that out and then like say that I was shilling centralized exchange. I wasn't. Let's go back to this and see if we can get some alpha. Hey, good morning, King Chad. Everybody, if you haven't retweet, liked, and subscribed, please do that right now. I think I'm going to be – I had a lot of fun on the show last night. I'm not going to play with anyone. It was a good old time. So 5:30, gear up, guys. I'm in full Chad mode. Sorry, Chad mode.
Of the exploit is, but it looks like a supply chain attack. So what is that? Basically, when a hacker enters modified software by injecting their malicious code into a system. So in this case, it looks like they think that the iOS code for the iOS wallet application itself could have some sort of payload injected into it that would allow the attacker to take funds out of the wallet and send it to their account. So in this case, they think it might be by some sort of iOS library to extract private keys. Okay, so if you understand, basically, you know, if you're a developer, you probably understand this. If you're not haven't quite jumped into development yet, you may not understand this. So basically, like whenever you're creating applications, you know, you can use these things called libraries, which essentially are code that you don't have to write yourself to make, you know, writing code faster because you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you want to do something. So if you're going to build a blockchain application, like you probably use a library to make your app talk to the blockchain. There's no point in you like writing the code that makes that happen. So you might install a library that somebody else wrote and pull it down into your application and use that code.
Wait. He's making this sound really gentle for all the devs out there, but this sounds like some sort of somebody else writes the code and then I just copy paste it and then I don't look at it all the time because I trust whatever this library is. It kind of sounds like that a little bit, but let's let him go. He clearly knows a lot more. But this is interesting as fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of developers aren't sensitive to vulnerabilities in these things called packages, basically. But sometimes, like that can be a danger of using a library is if it's not audited, it could have malicious code in the library itself. And so, you know, let's say that there's a library that's used across different crypto wallets that may be unaudited or maybe is audited and just has some sort of security vulnerability in it. If that library was then installed in, you know, multiple different softwares for, you know, blockchain-based wallets, then all those wallets could have a vulnerability in it that somebody else could just inject. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that every app is going to be vulnerable to that. Like not everybody, uses that type of strategy, right? Or if they did, it would.
It sounds like, but when they say strategy, it's like, yeah, the good guys don't use this shit because you'll fucking get wrecked. Like I want to know, did Richard Hart's devs use a library? Does anyone know that?
What is it? I don't know.
A library sounds like a place where like they basically copy and paste code they're going to use anyway. And they don't have to write it, but it's just like available because everyone uses that similar code. But like,
it's like open source.
Don't have to type it because there's certain parts that are like, already like normalized or all devs use libraries. Okay. So every dev uses a library. All right. So
it's probably
like every industry. A GRC
it's probably like using a pen, right? Like I didn't go create this pen, but I'm still going to use this pen. And it's like, okay, well then you also have scissors, right? Or this computer. I use it.
Technically someone could put acid in that pen. You never asked, right? When you bought the pen from the store, you didn't ask if there was cyanide in it. And maybe if there was a value proposition to put cyanide in it for whatever reason, there would be people that would do that, but there is no value proposition of doing that. But maybe there is a value proposition of slipping in a little bit of code to some of these projects that don't pay attention as closely. I'm just talking off my ass here. This is just like off intuition. Let's get right back into it. I'm loving what this dude's talking about right now.
Wouldn't necessarily all use the same type of wallet, but that is a way where, you know, a developer could create something and then unknowingly add malicious code to their own code that could cause something like this. So, you know, attacker could just write a library that basically says, okay, take everything out of here and, you know, send it to my wallet. So I'll show you an example of what a package like this could look like a little bit later. But that's what they're thinking it is right now without actual confirmation. So they came to this conclusion based on the fact that exploited wallets didn't have prior interactions with dApps and had remained inactive for some time. So I think I saw some numbers floating around that some of the wallets that were drained had been dormant for like 6 months. Okay. Now, many times whenever we see whenever we see wallets get drained, there's different ways that wallet exploits can happen. Like sometimes somebody will get you to sign a message in your wallet that is not what you expect. Like if you have ERC20 tokens in your wallet or ERC721, like NFTs, sometimes you might get on a website that's like, hey, claim your free airdrop. You know what I mean? Or like claim your free NFT mint. And then you just like sign a message, but you thought you were signing a message to, claim free tokens or something. But actually what you were doing was signing a message that lets people take money out of your wallet. So that's a common exploit, but that's not what happened here. That's what he's saying. Like, that's why it's so puzzling, because you didn't have people some of these wallets have been completely inactive for a lot of time. So gaining access to private keys means the attacker has the ability to transfer funds out of the wallet, including Phantom and Slope wallet services. So this is a big deal because Phantom is a widely used wallet in the Solana ecosystem. So if you're a Phantom wallet user, I believe this is specifically for iOS. Okay. But I would just say if you have a Solana wallet of any kind, like go check it right now and see just to see if you're affected. So anyways, hot wallets are considered less secure than cold wallets as they connect to the internet. Cold wallets, meanwhile, also private keys with an offline hardware layer. Okay. 7,000 wallets have been hit. They're working with the engineers working with security teams, try to put fingers to figure out exactly what the vulnerability is. They're trying to figure out what the best solution here is moving forward. So definitely go check on that. We're gonna keep you all up to date on the details as these types of things come in. If there's a quick solution, definitely go follow me on Twitter. I'll be Master Shortcut entirely. I share a master blockchain step-by-step start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people later.
So I found this over here on Twitter. Interesting fellow there, Dapp University guy. This is Solana status. Engineers from multiple ecosystems with the help of several security teams are investigating drained wallets on Solana. There's no evidence hardware wallets are impacted, right? That would be a very detrimental thing to crypto in general if hardware wallets were getting attacked or drained.
Wait, is this Solana's a Solana's product service? The Twitter? Oh wow, 85.3 thousand. Yeah, so they are tweeting about this. Okay, cool.
Well, but this is not their main account. This is another one. Their main account has 1.9 million. This is probably run by somebody.
Slide it over to the Solana status. Don't give it the main stage.
Let me
read this. Let me read this real quick. An exploit allowed a malicious actor to drain funds from a number of wallets on Solana. As of 5 a.m. UTC, approximately 7,767 wallets have been affected. The exploit has affected several wallets, including Slope and Phantom. This appears to have affected both a mobile and extension. Mobile noobs wrecked. Engineers are currently working with multiple security researchers and ecosystem teams to identify the root cause of the exploit, which is unknown at this time. There is no evidence hardware wallets have been impacted, as users are strongly encouraged to use hardware wallets. Do not reuse your seed phrase on a hardware wallet. Create a new seed phrase. Wallets drained should be treated as compromised and abandoned. I should work for them.
Was saying earlier today.
I should work for them. If your wallets was one of the 7,767 impacted, please complete this survey and investigate the root causes. Let's go to the comments.
Yeah, this is interesting. So let's click on this one here and
Let's
see.
go to some comments here.
This is my story. This person, this is their wallet. This is my slope
Slope
on my
on
iPhone.
iPhone. I was storing 3,300 USDC there, and they were stolen. I never connected this wallet to a single site. Wow. I also have Phantom, and it wasn't compromised at all. Get it off, buddy.
Wow, wait, that's super interesting there. They didn't connect it to any site. So there was another report that I saw that what's called was not the code from Solana had nothing to do with this, but I think we kind of already, came to that conclusion.
All of my Serum tokens were stolen last night. Initially, I used Slope Wallet, but imported the seed phrase to Phantom Wallet. Slope is the only wallet where I can see the transaction details. Any chance I have the stolen Serum returned? No, sir. I'll give you the big no on that, sir. Got drained all my Solana and USDC this morning. Good, very bad. And he's a cult supporter, so those cult supporters. They like their decentralization. And he probably felt wrecked. Go down a little bit more. Yep, that's his. I lost around 755. Here's the transaction hash. Keep scrolling down. Everyone's exposing their wallets today. My wallet is also gone. Wow, guys. I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Please help my address, sir. Wow. This is absolutely devastating.
All these little guys.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I was going to make. This is not Michael Saylor getting liquidated, guys. Those guys live on yachts and joke around about stuff all day long. These are normal people with $3,300 to their name that they were hoping one day would get to $100,000, maybe $500,000 in the future. Everything they had gone forever, gone forever. Gone forever. Never use Solana. Never interact with stupid cryptocurrencies that go down every month. You guys have to wake up, and you got to learn these lessons now, because I promise you, in the bull market, Solana is going to run. It's just how fucking shit goes. I don't know why. I hope Solana dies forever, to be honest. I don't like Solana, and I never have, because everyone ignored the uptime problem with it, because it was a quick fix. And I always thought
But I don't think this had anything to do with Solana. I just think that
or whatever.
Yeah, correct.
You're gonna find the same people getting hacked from this shit. It's gonna be the same kind of people. Naivete, cell phone interactions, and new users. And they're not protected at all, because nobody's here to tell them anything. And at least in Hex and Ethereum, we're getting the facts about the actual cryptocurrency scene, in my opinion. At least
this is gonna be the more these things happen, the better it is, but also the worse it is, right? Because the better it is, because then you have people like us that want people to do things in an intelligent, thoughtful, secure way, and then you have the 8,000 people who lost funds, and those 8,000 people are surely going to tell 10 other people each, or 15 or 20 people each, and that will have a ripple effect and keep more people away from crypto, when in reality the crypto is not necessarily the issue. It is paying attention to your security that is the issue. This person here said that this is not users' fault, as connecting to shady sites or getting their keys exposed. For sure, this is something more. My wallet was meant to be a safe deposit account to hold funds, but it was also drained. Damn.
Yeah, no, this is serious. And that's why I want to emphasize this, because I was reading some of this stuff. And again, I didn't know all the facts, but there were some trigger words in there that were really making it holy crap. Really seems like some of these people were trying to do the right thing with their wallets. This wasn't a GRC. It wasn't all naivete here. But again, the cell phone wallets, the no Trezors, it is a bit of naivete, because what have we and everyone in this community has to the hilltops? If you have a wallet with any amount of funds that means anything to you. I have a bunch of wallets that don't have Trezors on it, but they're under $200, under $300, just wallets on different interfaces that I have. And Trezors on all the wallets If you don't know where to get it, Trezor.io. Don't go to Amazon when you're buying Trezors in particular, just because obviously that's like you're the unit, like the only thing that can fuck up. So you don't want to, you know what I mean? It's not like you're buying a metal plate from Amazon. You're buying a fucking thing to connect to your computer to move your crypto. So you definitely don't want to do that. You never want to give your seed phrases to anyone. And you have to focus up a little bit and take control over your own banking.
And like ideally use a separate device completely that's not your main computer for doing research or utilizing to do crypto transactions. So interestingly, my buddy had told me about this back 6-7 years ago. He has a separate computer. He's not into crypto, but he just does this for banking, and he keeps all of his banking stuff on a separate computer, and that's the only thing he uses it for. And that's how you should treat crypto, as on a separate computer, right? If you have a computer, an old computer, doesn't have to be anything crazy. You can go through and effectively do a reset on your OS or something where you clear everything off of it and then reboot an OS, an operating system on there, and utilize that. That's what I did. That's what GRC I think has done too. And then use your hardware wallet on that separate device. Because if I'm clicking around doing research in this computer here, like maybe I click on something and F shit up, and I don't want that. I don't want that to happen, right? So using a separate one puts another layer in there where the only time I'm going to use that computer to click on any sites is if I've already looked at it on here and confirmed that I wanted to go to that site. Then I will go to the other computer and use that computer to access that site after I've already confirmed it.
Yeah, it's really important to take this stuff seriously. Like you got to move like you basically got to move like a drug addict on his last dollar. Like you got to pay attention to everything. Like you got to know that this is your money. This is everything. Like you need to just do a few things, but they're habits more, Sam. Like they're habits. Like double checking yourself is a habit for everything, not just crypto. You know what I mean? Like double checking your surroundings, having a clean room, decent, good hygiene, stuff like this. Like it's all daily habits. And if you have a lot of bad habits, having a bad habit with this is going to be 100 times easier, because you're just going to be like, oh, well, everything I just wear on, and then you're going to get wrecked for real money, not just playtime. And so this is important. If you want to use cryptocurrency, you have to be extremely careful.
Man, damn, you feel bad for these little guys, right, that are getting their shit stolen, you know.
And they think it's going to come back, and there's hope. They're gonna create some false hope, and make sure they never give you those funds back. That's why they're publishing the news, because they want.
Okay, so another good like best practice in my opinion, and I did this with the Trezor, right? And I'm actually gonna get a ledger just so that I can get the experience. I think there's 4 hardware companies. The most common we know of are Trezor and Ledger, but I think there's 4 total.
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick before RH Max comes on, but please, I can still hear you.
Cool. So another best practice that I like to incorporate, so utilizing a new wallet. If I open a new wallet, after I've got the wallet seed phrase written down, now delete if it's on a phone, delete the app and do it over and recover that same wallet. If it was with the Trezor, then go through and delete and reset the Trezor, or whatever the vernacular, the words that they use to describe resetting that, reset it, and then use your words to recover it again, right? Because there's a lot of times people will write down their words incorrectly, right? So this way you're, before you put money in there, delete it and reset it to make sure you can get back in there. Just a little extra thing. Also, in terms of signing things, I don't know for sure, like if there's a way to kind of like delete the signing activity on there, but the disconnecting from sites, you can definitely do that by so if you're on MetaMask, and I'll pull it up right now. Hopefully you guys will be able to actually see this and show you. Let's get this connected and share this out to you. You should be able to see my whole screen, so hopefully I don't have any nudes up here or anything like that. But when you come over here, you click this icon, right? You get to see this. I'm on RSK network. So we're going to go to Ethereum, click these 3 lines here, connected sites. And these are the sites that I've connected to, right? So we can go through and disconnect, right? So that I'm not connected to these sites anymore, right? This wallet I don't actually use for anything, but this is good practice. If you're actually going through and signing into anything, you can disconnect using this, right? Doesn't matter what the site is, just disconnect from it. Okay, that's another thing that I utilize as well. And I just actually got this in that I will be setting up. It's on my list of things to do as well today. But I got this in. It's still sitting on my desk. I haven't set this up. This is to secure the seed words. I think it's BIP 039 or BIP 39, which you can actually go through and look up what your seed words are. There's 2,048 of them, which makes up all seed words. So if you think numerically, 1,243 and 1,243 would equate to that word on that list, right? So it's a way of almost codifying it, so to speak. And with something like this, you put that code on there, 1243. And 1243 is what's going to be on here. Now, when you have to recover it, you have to take that 1243 with your list, the BIP 39 words, to actually decode this. So I like this because it's just more cumbersome. Like if something is compromised, I could probably move the funds before. It's going to take time for somebody to decode it, basically, before they go.
Just any layer of protection is a good layer of protection in crypto because it's all about incentive. It's all about easy, swift of access. Just like somebody was saying in the chat, like this exploit would cost them about half the money that they made. So it's like a lot. Like this is a ginormous criminal industry. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars that somebody's willing to spend on. I'm sure it doesn't always work out with whatever you're doing. Like I'm sure it fucks up a lot of the time too on their end. But
it's not going to be the last time. We're going to see a shitload more of these hacks.
You got to be careful.
Then they're going to be close to home. At some point, they're going to be close to home, and whether it's you or somebody else, like GSC, already fucked up and got his shit hacked, right? Which has benefited me, so thank you. And I'm not, trying to play lightly, but that's fucking just what it is, right? Because then, this stuff is going to hit home. It's not just going to happen with Solana. We're make fun of Solana just because that's what it is, but it's going to happen in other ways. Like whether the network is secured, then the way to access the network is going to be attacked, right? And if that's not done, then it's a different vulnerability that people can take a look at and further down the chain. Because when there's this cash, so to speak, it's like just having cash available that anybody could have access to as long as they can get into there, right? So if you just have cash in a plastic bag, super easy to get to. And that's effectively what's happening with the blockchain. Instead of being a plastic bag, it's in a giant cage that's locked up very securely, right? But as soon as there's interactions with that giant security box with all this cash in it, then that could create that vulnerability for somebody to extract value out of there. We're going to see more of this, and some of them are going to get close to home.
Yep, you guys, we're going to have RH Max on here to answer some dev questions for us. And just to remind everyone in the chat that just, developer is used as a term from a lot of people to make you think that they're smarter than you. And in reality, what they do is copy and paste most of their shit, but they learn it because they're looking at it all the time. And I'm not knocking them, but I'm just telling you, like, just because someone's a developer, it's all a game. There's always a game. You know what I mean? In every industry, there's a game, and some people are good at it. Some people have honest work, and some people just undercut everyone. And just remember, like, just the word developer sometimes can make people feel priced out mentally. But I think it's important to remember that in these industries, just like some of the devs in the chat were highlighting, very similar negative externalities. You know what I mean? Like lots of negative practices, lots of laziness, lots of copy and pasting, lots of, oh, I work for you. I don't really give a shit. I'm just going to write whatever makes my day go faster. You know what I mean? Like, so I just want everyone to remember that's a very important critical thing. Now, there are good people in every industry, but it's always 1%. It's always 5%. It's never the 95% ever.
Yes, this is interesting. Crypto Heathen, I like the name. LinkedIn course, Web3 development straight up teaches copy and paste.
No, and I could have guessed.
It's part of it. It's part of it.
It is part of it. In the good, like, you can give me a hammer and I could maybe build a beautiful home, or I could beat someone to death with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the truth. In both of those could take similar emotional energy. Like, for me to build a house, I would have to be very into it. And for you to be upset enough to friggin' beat someone with the hammer, it comes down to mental health, daily habits, and like respect for yourself, and like living a decently good life. And it's hard to do. There's a lot of ways to not do that. And I have, you know, I do that shit sometimes too. Bad, dumb shit, stupid shit, stuff I shouldn't do. Potentially, maybe it's small to some people, but to me, it's a big deal. And just like YouTube channels, I was watching YouTube channel 3 years ago that has 12 active live viewers yesterday. I still tune into it like every night just to like, and they never grew, they never cared, and they still are blaming other people. So it's kind of like, you just know that in every industry you have to find the gems. Find the gems, and you got to find people that are willing to put in extra work because they actually care. And I feel like we have one of those guys in the chat right now. I mean, in the green room right now. We're going to transition him in. Sam, I want you to pick his brain. I want you to, he's a dev. He knows way more about this kind of stuff. But I also, RH Max, as you come in, I want you to let us know some of those realities of the industry, because you kind of mention that a lot, I think. And you're like, oh yeah, this is, you want to know the truth about us devs. Obviously some are great, some are, but the reality of the situation. Let's transition them in here.
Reality check. It's incoming.
What's up?
It's coming up.
What's up, bro?
What's
Yeah,
up?
there we go.
What's up?
You're lean AF, bro. You're looking
I'm
good.
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm getting ready for Vegas, you know. Getting ready to hang out with
Me
my
too.
boys.
Yeah. You going to a PulseCon type thing for Vegas? Is that what you mean?
Golf tournament.
That's what I was referring to. Yes, yeah. Hopefully, you're going too, right?
Nice. I don't think I will be, but GRC is.
I'm going to be there.
You don't want to go there for the vaporware jokes about Pulse Chain? You don't want to go there for that?
Yeah, we're going to be like, how's your Pulse Chain bags doing?
you still up, bro? You
Maybe
still
they'll
up?
come out
Yeah.
next year.
Well, technically, I'm glad that sacrifice happened because, well, actually, we're not going to get into that shit. We're going to, I have a question for you, and then I'm going to let you guys kind of roll with this conversation. Tell me about what you know about this hack, those little details you know we like looking for, maybe if you have a little insight.
Yeah, so the guy on the video, I mean, he was doing a good job kind of going over at a high level. But again, just for everyone who don't know, I have a background in security, been working in it for over a decade professionally. So supply chain attack is nothing new to me, like when I hear about this stuff. But in crypto, it's especially interesting because it affects your money, right? Everyone's like, oh, you know, if you download some software that's been backdoored and it's just, you know, you're running some program with it and you're not running on a server and not a lot of, it's just your computer or laptop type of thing, and something's wrong with it, not a big deal. But if you're running on a computer where you're downloading software that has something wrong with it, somebody has got in the supply chain of where it's being made, inserted some kind of malware, and now you're running it on your computer and it's affecting your money, your crypto, things like that. That's when it becomes a big deal.
When does that interaction occur? Like, when does, like, let's say you were doing it and you had all this funds and you were ready to go for it. Like, when does the actual thing happen where somebody click?
Supply chain, I'll do supply chain tech 101. So supply chain, generally you're all familiar with, like, that's how products are made, right? You source materials, you put them together in a factory or whatever it is, and you produce a product. Supply chain is important. You see lumber, blah, blah, blah. This stuff goes wrong. It's hard to make stuff for people to buy. So in the digital world, supply chain is like how the software is made. So when you're writing code, when you're writing a product, you usually don't write everything from scratch. You're using libraries. You all mentioned, a few minutes ago, libraries. That sounds like it's not a place where you read books.
Is that just a repository for shit that's done all the time in code?
There's so much code that's been written over the past few decades that you want to make it easier to write stuff. You don't want to write everything from scratch. So a library is just a way of saying, okay, this person wrote this code, maybe 5 or 6 years ago that does exactly what you want it to do. And when you're a developer, you're searching for things like that. You're going on GitHub and you're saying, okay, I want to parse a Merkle tree, stuff like that. I want to parse images. I want to get text from images, things like that. And you go on GitHub, you go wherever, and you search for, hey, where is the library to get text from image? Where's the library to parse a Merkle tree? Blah, blah, blah. And this is how software is built. Nobody goes and says, I'm going to go make a crypto wallet, and they go write it all from scratch. Nobody does that because it doesn't make any sense. Somebody's already written that code before somewhere that does that particular piece that you wanted to do. So of course you create your own product. You put your own brand, you put your own certain features that are specific to your product on it. But you're mostly, every time you write code, you're reusing a ton of code that's already been written out there, and you're trusting it. That's where supply chain comes in. So when they're building software, again, you're trusting these different libraries to help you get these things done faster because you don't want to rewrite the code. But now you're extending your attack surface to whoever wrote that code before you. So that's why it's so easy for these attacks to happen, because you're trusting, every MetaMask, for example. I haven't looked into how many dependencies they have. Dependencies is just what they depend on, what libraries they use, and they need to update in case they have vulnerabilities, which is a whole other discussion, but also who they're consuming it from. So when you use libraries, just think about, you're taking code from other people who you want to trust, but hey, are they from a company, or is it just one guy? If that guy gets hacked, blah, blah, blah.
Now, where do the good companies make sure? How does a company that wants to go above and beyond make sure that they can cover their tracks here? Because they're going to
reduce that risk.
Yeah, great question. So it's hard. It's a hard problem because you're consuming code from other places. So you don't want to have a human review each line of code to make sure nothing's wrong with it. Like, that doesn't scale for a corporation, for example, that's producing different software. So you use cryptography in a lot of ways. I mean, the other form of crypto, actually verifying signatures to say, hey, so-and-so said this code is correct. If anyone tries to change it, it's going to say this code has been changed. Like, do not use it anymore. That's like the biggest use of cryptography ever, is signing, key signing. And it works in crypto and all these, but that's one of the ways to prevent it. Is companies will say, okay, we trust this person, we trust this company and their code, and they have signed each commit. They've signed each GitHub commit. Every time they modify the code, they've signed it, or they have verified this code is correct. So if they do get hacked, if somebody comes in and hacks them and tries to insert a backdoor, the math itself, the cryptography itself will say, hey, no, don't use this code. Something's wrong with it. The signature failed. Don't make this into production. Don't give it to everyone else who may be backdoored now. So that's one way to solve it. But this is new. Like the defense against supply chain attacks is very new. It's like something that's literally new in the security industry. It's just so expensive. So when you're developing code, I'll say, okay, why doesn't every company do this? Why doesn't every company have this protection against it? It's because it makes developers' life harder. So when you're developing code and you're writing new stuff and you hit commit because you want it to go into the repo for everyone to start using it, the product to pick it up.
Define briefly what commit is. What does that mean?
Yeah, so commit is when you write. So when you have a GitHub repo or whatever it is, and you're working on the latest and greatest version of the code, or another branch of the code, which is like another sub product that you don't know if it's going to make it in the product, but you're using it for testing or whatever. When you're writing new code and you want everyone else to make use of it, you want to put it into the repo. You want to make sure everyone it's in there. So when you make a commit means put this new code into the existing code so everyone can use it. So that's where the backdoors come in. That's why commits are so important, to sign them or to people review them. So you have like a +1 thing in development where every commit before it goes into the repo, you need someone else to look at it and say, hey, this is not a backdoor, or hey, this is not going to break everything, or hey, this is okay. Or if it's not, they leave a comment. They'll say like, hey, you should fix this line before you put it in, or something like that.
So question on that. I've worked for the government before, right? And I've also worked in banking before. So I had a secret clearance, and there's some stuff that I had to do, right, that they don't want me to talk about. But there's, a check and balance type thing where, like, if I'm doing shit, then I have to have you sign off on it as well,
That's
right?
The +1 system in development, yeah.
But there's issues with that too. right? Because, and I don't know if this is the same with code as well. I want to talk about the same thing with banking. I used to work in banking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same idea with security is very important because we're dealing with people's money. But you and I know each other, right? You're working in the office 2 doors down. Hey, bro, can you sign off on this? I got to fucking get this done by the, in the next half hour. And you're like, yeah, sure. Click, boom. Because you know me and you trust that I do a pretty good job on everything. And I don't fuck shit up perpetually, right? So you just check that box and you get that done so that I can put that in commit into that repository or whatever the case is. Is there anything you're aware of to help mitigate that? Because like I've literally done that, both working for the United States, DOD and working in banking. Like that happens all the time.
That is a human error problem so when you're doing a review system, you can have a +1, you can have a +2, you can have a plus team, you can have the whole team needs to sign off and look at this before you do it. But what you're talking about is the inertia of, hey, do I need to really am I going to have to review all this stuff all the time? How much should I trust the person? Do I think they're a Russian spy or not? Oh, we're cool. I mean, that's exactly what espionage. This stuff happens in software industries too. There is espionage that people get in. They say, oh, we're buddies. Just let me push the code through. We talked about this in the meeting. Don't worry about it. Stuff like that. That's actually how espionage works in a lot of ways in software companies. And they catch spies like that. Microsoft catches spies. And you can go Google for Microsoft, Russian spy, blah, 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 all that stuff. But yeah, that's another reason to do a crypto version of that, a cryptography version, where you say, once you get past the checks, once you get past the person reviewing it, now you have, if it's already went into the code, now no one else can come in and try to make a new commit because their changes won't be added. They'll say, this hasn't been approved by someone at the company. So that's another reason why they try to make it, hey, it's not just a human, clicking a button saying I approve this and stuff. It's also these other checks and balances to make sure that there's no random person on the project that's putting code into it.
But still, the idea that like the +1 is effective in my mind is just blatantly wrong. Like I in banking, right? You think it's fucking secure. You have no idea what the back end is like and how insecure your fucking shit is.
I'd love to know more about that in general, just overview. You don't have to get specific.
The same thing with the Department of Defense. People are fucking utterly clueless on how our money
it comes down to a psychological and accountability thing too. So now you need to make people accountable to make them not just say, oh, I'm gonna approve everything. Say, okay, if you approve this, something goes wrong, you're going to get fired, you're going to get sued, you're going to get all these other things to make it
up. It's like a ginormous warning on MetaMask or something for anything that has like a new or it's like there's no warning. Like shit just pops up on there all the time. It's like, oh, you want a new fucking airdrop? It's already in your account.
Yeah.
Accept it.
Well, yeah. I mean, MetaMask has a bunch of different issues with, sometimes it doesn't show you what, if you're going to claim airdrop, for example, I've came across this, it won't show you what function you're going to run to claim the airdrop. So if it showed you what function you're going to run, you could go to the code and at least look at the function and say, okay, is this doing something crazy or not? I mean, your developer, it's harder to do that, but sometimes MetaMask won't even show you the name of the function so you can go determine what you're actually going to run. There's a bunch of different MetaMask security improvements you can do there too.
This is super fascinating. But I want to, some of this stuff, right, is going to be, shit that's like on the peripheral of a lot of our understanding, myself, but also I'm assuming a lot of people in the chat. But what are some common, how can people, mitigate this shit? How could you go through and, right? Because we've been talking about it from the standpoint of I'm creating code. Hey, bro, I need you to fucking sign off on this shit so I can get this done by 2:00 today. So I sent it to you. You're like, checkbox, done, because I'm about to go out to coffee with my girlfriend. I don't give a shit what it's actually like. Right. And that shit happens all the time, even if there's the quote of right, they could have prosecuted me for shit. Right. And doesn't stop that from actually happening because the probability is just so minuscule. But
that's a hiring and training thing on the human psychology aspect. But like I said, you can have not just +1, you can have +2. You can have not just Sam, you can have GRC also has to sign off. So maybe one of you are good friends with the person who wants to put the code in, but the other person's not. And stuff like that. So, and then you can try to match
somebody's girlfriend or something like these things.
But I just don't see it as being secure. It just doesn't
sound secure.
No, because I've had multiple. there'd be things with the working for the military. Okay, cool. I got to have GRC sign off because he's at the same quote level that I'm at, or the next level. After that's done, then I have to take it to somebody else to have them sign off on it. Then I have to take it to somebody else to have them sign off on it, like 3 or 4 layers. But checking a box is just not super effective. When nobody
there are different layers. So there are different layers. I don't know in banking and stuff if there's like, okay, I can't explain that part, but the part of in code. So I mentioned branches earlier. So branches are like another version of the code that's not released yet. So maybe in Pulse Chain, Richard said there's 2 different teams working on Pulse Chain products. They have one working on one side and another problem, whatever, or the same problem, 2 different solutions. So those 2 are working on, if I were to speculate, they're working on 2 different branches of the code. And so you could have this branch that usually in development, you have one version that just takes new code, and then they get +1 and they get approved and stuff like that. But before it gets released, the whole team looks at all the new code. You have 8 to 10 people probably looking at all the new changes. So you have another set of approvals, another layer of, okay, if anyone spots anything weird going on here, now we have a chance to catch it before we take that new version that we want to release and put it into the main product and actually get it out to customers. So that's another way to try to prevent it. But
that, I feel like at companies, to make that actually effective, from my personal experience, it would have to be incentivized, right? Because all I have an incentive to do is click through, and not in the negative side, but on the positive.
Equity.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want your company not to go down, give them some equity, and they'll work a little bit harder.
So basically, what keeps these things functioning is the richness of the people in them, and like the solidity of what's going on. Like stealing from there's also that part of it that's like the government, it seems like stealing from the grocery store, like nobody does that, right? But it's relatively easy to do, and it's relatively easy to get away with.
San Francisco, they do it a lot.
But no one around me really does it, because it's kind of like one of those things, right? It's like, I don't want to be a bad person. It's like you almost get socially conditioned to, and then some people are like, fuck you, like socially conditioned. Like, I'll steal your shit 6 clicks away, bitch.
Like, when you were gone, me and Sam were talking about espionage too, and that's another factor. There's been spies. You can Google for Microsoft Russian spy. They catch people who, their incentives have been twisted, and maybe they work for another country, or they work for somebody threatening their family or paying them or whatever. And now it doesn't matter how, like, if you have someone highly motivated to try to put a back door into the supply chain and steal a bunch of money or do whatever, no matter how they're incentivized, there's a good chance they could be successful. And that's why you have different layers of approval, the +1s, the cryptographic hash. So cryptographic hashes will help with this only if, one of the developers get hacked, for example. Like that could be a supply chain angle too. One of the developers gets hacked. There's no insider, there's nothing like that. One of the devs gets hacked, their computer gets malware on it. Now maybe they have access to push new code, put new code out there. And now you kind of left it up to, okay, how many checks do we have? How many, where's this code going? Is it signed or not? And if it's signed, then you can quickly see, okay, this new commit that made it into this new code that made it out there, it wasn't checked by the signatures didn't check. Nobody else checked it, blah, blah, blah. Obviously there's a problem. We need to back it back out. But if you're able to insert the code into a system where there's not a lot of checks and people just clicking buttons and everything goes, well, that's in any company, you're going to get screwed over. If you're just clicking through SSL warnings and like, are you sure you want to do this and all this stuff, then you're going to get screwed eventually. So that can happen in any company.
There was a podcast or something where Richard Hart was talking about, talking to a fellow about utilizing NFTs with Alfa Romeo. And he went on to this tangent, and this, I don't necessarily agree with everything he has to say, but this specific part makes perfect sense and relates to what we're currently talking about here, where he was talking about how the crypto space and the physical space, when they touch, that's when you have problems, right? Because with, say, Alfa Romeo, you're like, okay, cool, that's a great idea. You go get your oil change, and it's documented on the blockchain. Cool, right? But then it's the same exact thing happens, and be like, I'm going to go over here to GRC because he's my buddy. Be like, here, bro, here's $50. Can you mark down here that I got this done and get this done? Or, hey, I just got into an accident. Hey, dude, can you fucking fix this shit, but don't like put it on the thing? There's,
or just do it yourself. If you have the tools, you can just change your own oil.
Correct.
Now nobody has a record of it.
And then it's not on the blockchain. Okay, so I feel the same way about this when it touches the humans, because like, yes, like cryptographic thing is cool. If anybody actually gives a shit about that, where I can sign shit all day, that doesn't mean I've actually reviewed it, right? And there's no incentive. There's no incentive for me to do a good job of going through that, other than me being a good human being, right? But there's plenty of nefarious players out there that can do this, like Google, Android, right? The largest operating system from a mobile standpoint in the world. They had this happen in their app store, right? Where it allowed some type of approval for it's happened. You're probably far more aware of this shit than I am, where it's happened multiple times.
The signing, that's where signing comes in. So on your apps for your iPhone or your Android phone or whatever, they're all signed by Google, by Apple, whatever. And they won't make it onto the app store unless their signatures match. You won't be able to download it unless the signatures match to say, hey, Google put this out and Apple put it out or whatever. That's the same thing with the signatures for the new code. It's not preventing them from saying this is okay code. It's preventing someone else from coming in who is basically identifying a developer named blah, 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 wrote this code, committed it at this time, and it was them. That's what code signing does. And you can do that with a YubiKey, like a 2FA type thing, where you write the code, you hit commit, and then you got to physically press a button in order to, just like a hardware wallet, press that button to make sure it is you signing it and not you haven't got hacked and some hackers putting code out there. So that's what signing prevents.
Can I ask you a much more selfish question related to no code? I feel that no code, if I was relating it to crypto, right? Crypto kept coming up in the peripheral of my life, but it kept coming up more and more, right? Like it first started hearing about it in 2013-ish, right? Maybe 2012. And then it just was like more and more with every year, but it's coming up with increasing frequency. And that's how I feel about no code solutions. And there's a boatload of them out there. I'm not even slightly pretending to know what I'm talking about when I talk about this stuff, but it is very interesting to me. And it is something that I've noticed maybe over the next 36 months, where the no code phrase is like just more and more into like the arena. Yes, probably because I'm focusing on crypto, that has something to do with it. It's closer to the source, right? That could definitely be something to it. Yeah. But can you talk about like no code and like your experience or just thoughts on that? Because I think that's fascinating. If I could have a no code service, tool, whatever it would be called, where I can build something that's dope. And if you could unlock the creativity and resourcefulness of 2 or 3x the number of people who currently know how to do shit, right? So you know how to do stuff with coding that I don't, right? So if you think about this on a macro level, there's very small percentage of the population globally that understands how to code to create digital dope ass shit, whether it is wallet, whether it's crypto, whether it's building a new product or service or XYZ. Now, if that was brought like 10x down in terms of the complexity, and you might think it's not complex, but right from the average person, if that was brought down to a much simpler level, and that would unlock a shitload more people to be creative, to be resourceful, and the explosion of innovation would be insane.
Well, it's kind of like so two different paths on this one too. It's kind of like directors, how they don't, directors don't do everything for their movie anymore. They have people with sound, audio, video, producers. They have all these different things going on. So directors can focus on the vision and they can focus on all these things instead of having to worry about the nuance of every single device and getting all the actors and all this stuff. So, but for libraries, so no code, basically you're starting with, somebody has said, okay, I want to make coding super easy. I want you to have a little experience as possible. I need to remove all the unnecessary stuff from it. That's what a library does. A library says, I already know how to do all these functions. I don't need the person to go to the, type in all these little individual values. I'm going to make it so it's as easy as possible. I'm going to pre-fill all this stuff for them. And I'm going to only expose the stuff they really care about using. Like for no code, I only care about, talking to users or setting the number of coins that go out or free claim. I want to tick the box. Is it a free claim or is it not a free claim? And this is stuff I wrote a blog series on my blog too about how to create your own coin. There's a heart coin live on testnet right now. You can go create your own coin in just a few minutes. With
you want to share that in the private chat, and I can share it out to the chat here because that would be fascinating.
It's related to just how easy it is even nowadays to create your own coin too. So there's 3-part series. We want to learn about smart contracts, learn about ERC20 tokens, how to create your own token, and then malicious smart contracts, how to protect yourself. That's the recent series on the blog. But that's basically no code is just this huge abstraction of we're going to take all the complex stuff with coding and whatever category you want to do, crypto, whatever it is, and we're going to put it in this machine. And the machine's only going to have a few buttons for you to press. And those buttons are enough for you to express whatever you want to do in code. So it makes everything much easier. And I think that's going to be a revolution coming in the next few years too, of we're going to have all these people who don't know anything about coding, but that's okay. They have ideals and they have the ideals they want to come to life. And instead of hiring contractors and dev teams and spending all this money, they're just going to sign up, probably a subscription service on nocodenow.com or whatever, and you're going to get access to just go launch all these products. And I can definitely see that coming. And whoever makes that's going to be a billionaire because they're going to create that much value for society. But there's just a bunch of libraries. No code is just hey, we know how to do all this stuff, and we want to make it super easy, and we're going to give all these little buttons to you to press now.
Is there a aggregator, so to speak, of libraries so that if you think about, say, an aggregator like Matcha, right, XYZ, where it pulls in, bid ask, from legacy world nomenclature, but basically it pulls in wherever you're going to get the cheapest price, and then you go to that DEX, right? Or a aggregator, that pulls together that allows you to jump from chain to chain to chain, right? Something like Bungee or like Sushi Swap X or whatever. Is there a aggregator no code tool that you're aware of that pulls together different libraries? Because I'm assuming
that's what it would do. That's how it would function. So
it's not just one. It's not just one library. It's already tied to multiple libraries type of thing.
How I would build a no code system. I would have a back end. So I'd have a front end exposing okay, what do you want to do? Do you want to make a crypto token? Do you want to make a blah, 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 whatever it is. And then based on whatever you select in the back end, I'll see, okay, what libraries do I have available? I've already onboarded hundreds of libraries, and depending on which buttons they clicked, these are the ones I want to use because they're going to best work for whatever product they want to build. And then I'm going to pull those libraries. Supply chain attack. Oh God, I've got to figure out, make sure these libraries come from sources that I trust. And I'm going to piece those together. And then based on whatever you type in, hey, I want to make Samcoin, and I want it to be a free claim for 90 days. And I'm going to take those libraries from Open Zeppelin. I'm going to take libraries from, the Ethereum contract stuff. I'm going to run an AVM, whatever I need to do. And I'm going to put that together and then make Samcoin, and we're going to release it and things like that. So I'm going to pull those. I'm going to choose based on your choices, what are the best things to use, and aggregate it in that way. So if I were to build a system like that and expose it through a web browser, for example, that's how I'd build it.
Do you know of any no code tools? My light is flickering because there's a giant storm outside. Do you know of any no code tools that you're a fan of, or that's not really?
It's funny. It's like you would think that people who do code, it's kind of a, what do you call it? Not a catch-22, but professional. I'm not saying I'm a professional developer, but people who code and do things like this for years and years. They're usually not searching for those no code tools, right? Because they're not, unless they're doing a training or trying to teach people about it, they're not going to be the best ones to talk to about it. So funny enough, the people who know about code are not the best people to ask about no code. I wouldn't have many references for you on that.
Okay, cool. No, that's something I would like to start to learn more about that. And it's fascinating. I just heard about this one, bubble.io, that I signed up for a free demo, and I'm just going to try to see what I can create in an hour, whatever it is. It's an app or something, and just test to learn, because
I'm not trying to plug my blog again, but seriously, if you want to go create Samcoin on testnet on Ethereum, you can do it. And I mean, After I distilled all the steps to do in the blog post, like you could do it in probably 30 minutes to an hour. You can create your own coin with whatever supply you want. It'll give you all the supply, and then I'll have 1 billion SAM coins and on testnet on Ethereum for free.
Dangerous information. Dangerous.
SAM coin coming.
It's
if you want to
real.
learn how this stuff works.
I did before when you sent over the blog post, I pulled it up in a tab to go through and actually take a look at this after I get off here. You have a bunch of different articles. It looks like which article would be the one to take a look at?
I would briefly go through the smart contract 101 one, which is forget what it's called.
It says smart contracts. Okay.
Yeah, that one. I would start with that one. Just briefly go through it so you have some background, and then creating your ERC20 token is the one that gives you step by step how to actually create your own token, how to launch it on testnet, how to get all your supply. How to do. Just very different using libraries. Using OpenZeppelin library makes it extremely easy for it's almost no code, honestly. Like it's so little code. I would consider it like no code in a way. I think a lot of people can do it without prior dev experience.
Well, you have just earned a spot. I don't know how long it will be there, but you've earned a spot as a bookmark on my browser with the blogs up there. So thank you for that.
Hey,
of course.
I know you got to do a show later. I know you're busy. This has been an amazing show. I just wanted to have someone on here that could answer some specific questions, and you're the go-to guy for honest and transparency.
I've started to do a security AMA, every month because I got a lot of good feedback, and that's again, I want to provide utility to the community.
Yep.
My background, I've been in crypto for a little bit, but I have a security background. So when you say supply chain, you're watching a video, I'm like, no, I can talk about this. I can totally come on when you guys have security topics if you're interested in it. Let me.
Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And you have a show coming on later. What time is that show?
4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern with Just Ask Jesse. So it's going to be a good show in Jesse's.
Wow. So that'll be a good show, guys. Make sure you go over to RH Max's channel. What's your sub count?
Do you want to share your channel real quick?
1.4 right now.
I'm gonna share.
Share your channel.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. I want to say Alan comes to basically he comes here every day, and he also comes to my streams every day. So thank you, Alan. You're awesome.
Thank you, Alan, as well.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, wait. And real quick, to finish this off, guys, I have a saved question up here from a super chat from Jerry. Jerry, if you're not in here, I'm absolutely
Jerry Oaksmith.
I'm absolutely sorry about waiting until the end. Do you think 38% APY is good marketing?
God,
that's actually a serious question. I'm
laughing because I know Jerry in real life, and we were having this debate in a Telegram earlier. So every time I get on stream, he asks this question because he wants people to side with him, basically. So, but
what's his side? What's his side?
Well, I mean, we're a Washington State Hex meetup. And I'm doing like the banner for it. I'm doing like the banner we can take pictures with. And he wants to put the APY on the banner, and I don't want to.
No, Jerry, I don't agree with that. I don't like that.
So it's like this ongoing debate we've had for the last few weeks. So that's why he's asking the question.
38% APY makes me want to it just reminds me that I'm poor, and then reminds me that some rich dude's scamming me at some point. Is
it still 38%? Is it 32%?
It doesn't even matter. It's like that number's a little too high for that person that you would want to onboard. If you were telling Sam that, he would look into it. If you were telling me that, I would look into it. But if you told my dad that, he'd say, well, I hope you guys all get rich and you guys scam the world because y'all are fucking scammers. You know what I mean? That's just, even a lot of the people that get rich off this stuff, there's this innate bullshit lie that adults tell themselves that the money system's not rigged and people are actually nice and they give everything nicely and they spread it out, and it's not true. That we're doing this to protect ourselves in a way and grow our businesses.
Sorry, I
think for the gains, Dad. It's for the glory. Okay.
I think that depends on the person's point of view. Right? Somebody's going to think that is definitely a scam, especially if they don't have any understanding of crypto. That is going to for sure look like a scam. One way that I think could make it less look like a scam is using a 1-year return, right? 1-year return in Hex, right? Because then it's 12, 14% or whatever it comes out to be. Looks less scammy to some people. Yeah. Where 38% is just too much of a difference or whatever. But
I would just write
Thank you, Bob.
like if I'm just going off the top of my head here, I'm not an expert at this, but you know, if I was looking at something and I had never seen it before, I would just forget those numbers. Like to me, I don't want to hear those numbers. I want to just, it's to say like crypto savings account or something like that. And maybe those people in the middle will just be like, hey, I've learned so much about crypto. I would love to have a crypto savings account of some sort. Like, and I'm getting, that's just right off the top of my head. So I haven't really thought about the catchiest way to say it, but something that's so broad, something that's almost the opposite of the way that it's marketed to us gambling, crazy steroid using freaks. Like we understand the fringe, right? I mean, like you said, I understand the fringe. I understand that it exists, but there is a lot of scams in that industry. And I'm kind of just willing to kind of dig into it a little further, provide all the information here. I think it's a tiebreaker. I think Sam's would be on the fence about the 38% APY as well on the banner. If there was other options, right? Like give me a list of options and I'll pick the one that I think is the best. But to be honest, it just screams like to a very small majority of people.
We want to onboard more boomers than crazy people. In a way, maybe there's more of them.
I would love to have my dad's excess income into Hex for my bag stakes. You know, like, there's some dudes out there that could spend $5 or $10 grand a month, no problem.
I have another call in 2 minutes, so I'm
going off too, Sam.
I got to run too. I got to literally run.
You enjoyed the
amazing episode. I'm so glad we covered this in great detail, and I am going to just close it here, guys. Everyone have an amazing day and shoot for the stars, baby. Oh, fuck, I gotta click the button.
Young folks, you dripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. Richard Heart.
Bought my Hex from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the Hex, he is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is why they be losing. Pro chains out, now get me a check. He's gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. Hex had me eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this bag like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this bag like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my Hex from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Heart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hairy start. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Heart. Richard Heart.